Hey, what's going on? Jake here with Uncommon EDC. Today I'm taking a look at the James Brand The Ellis, which is a Swiss Army style knife, although not made in Switzerland. This is designed in Portland, Oregon, made in China, and gonna set you back right around 119 bucks, which right off the bat I'll tell you feels a little bit pricey for what you're getting, but if you take price out of the equation, I really like this little tool, but definitely do feel like it's a little pricey for what you're getting. Now, a lot of different configurations available. This is the cerulean colorway, which is aluminum scales, but depending on the color you choose, there's G10 as well as micarta, and then you can also choose between a plain edge versus a partially serrated edge on all of the different colors. And so I actually elected to go with the partially serrated, which is a little bit unusual for me. Most of my knives are plain edge, and that's definitely my preference. But the thought process there was that this is really going to be a secondary knife. I'm going to be carrying my normal EDC, which will be a plain edge, and so might as well get a little bit of different functionality there with that secondary blade. And so I'm mainly carrying this, I guess, for the other tools, but it is nice to have a decent little blade on here. The blade is a 2.6 inch drop point style blade with 12C27 Sandvik steel, which is the first part where I'm feeling like the price is a little bit high for what you're getting. Nothing wrong with 12C27, perfectly acceptable, especially in this type of tool, but at the price point, you can get $30, $40 knives with that steel. And so I feel like at this price point, I would have liked to get a little bit of a more mid-tier steel, but not the end of the world, like I said, for the tool. If you take the price out of the equation, I think it's perfectly functional here. Now, this is a non-locking blade, just a slip joint. You see this here, it looks like it could potentially be some sort of lock, but it is not. That is where your thumb rests on the scissors. But it does add a little bit of jimping for the grips and ergonomics of this knife. No jimping along the spine, but that does keep your finger from really sliding up onto those serrations, which is nice. I'm able to get a 4-finger grip on here, although it feels a little bit cramped for my hands. I prefer to do 3 fingers with my pinky kind of resting on the back there. And that's a really comfortable grip for me. Now, the aluminum handles are going to be super slick, not really that grippy. If you get G10 or micarta, they're going to be a little bit more grippy. But with that being said, I don't feel like I'm going to slip up onto that blade. The pocket clip definitely adds to the overall just ergos of it. You do feel that it's there, it exists, it's not a hot spot whatsoever, not uncomfortable. And in fact, I feel like it adds to my grips. My middle finger and ring finger end up landing right on that pocket clip and really lock in my grip. So I feel like that's pretty comfortable and overall just kind of a necessary thing with these aluminum handles. So if you had wet hands, these would be pretty slick. Now 3.5 inches on those handles, and that brings the overall length to 6.5 inches. This is really lightweight, feels lightweight in the hand, feels lightweight in the pocket at 2.7 ounces. I believe some of the models are 2.6, this one was 2.7. Nice half stop on that blade. And for those other tools, I mentioned I like to rest my pinky back here. They advertise this as 3 different tools: a prier, a scraper, and a flathead screwdriver, and it definitely functions as those. Usually I don't like to count one tool as multiple tools. I would just count that as one extra tool, but it does perform all 3 of those functions. Now, with that, there's the pry function, which works for kind of small things, popping paint cans and that sort of thing, but because of that pocket clip there and the thicker handles, you're not going to be able to get into really small places and pry with this, but it is effective for just kind of light things that you do with a pry bar, so that's fine. It works well as a screwdriver. It's obviously going to be a wider one, so small screws aren't going to work well here, but for like camera base plates in particular, works really, really well. And then as a scraper, it's got a really kind of rounded off edge. It's not super sharp and pointy, which for a scraper isn't great. It'll definitely do okay in some scenarios, but if you got like a lot of sticker scum on the back of it, it's not going to do such a great job at scraping that off as a more kind of sharp edge would on some pry bars. But I think that's okay in this case. I think it was probably a wise decision, just because otherwise this is going to be what's exposed on that pocket clip. So the pocket clip's right hand tip up, and deep carry, super deep carry actually, the only thing exposed is that pry tip. And so if it were a sharper edge, every time you reached in your pocket past that, it's going to scrape up against your hand and just be an uncomfortable feeling. Probably not going to cut you, but will scrape you a little bit. And so with that kind of a nice rounded edge, not really an uncomfortable experience, even if you do bump into it. And so probably a wise decision there. Now the other thing that they added here was that keychain hole or lanyard hole. Although if you end up adding like a lanyard to this, it's going to limit the effectiveness of that tool. So maybe not the best idea, but it is an option if you really want to do that. Now, I think where this really shines, I like carrying a pair of scissors on me, and the scissors on this are excellent. So those flip out. It has a nail nick on it as well. Decent size scissors, and that jimped thumb ramp is really comfortable. Make sure you don't slip off it at all. You can do kind of longer cut lines really effectively, and it's super snappy. As you can see, if I let off that, it snaps back into that open position. So really comfortable to use for small cuts, for longer cuts, and really good scissors. So you can see I have a really cut up piece of paper here. That kind of block the view, but even for longer cuts, it's really effective and works really well. And so like the scissors on this a lot. One of the better scissors I've had on multi-tools or Swiss Army knives. And so that's kind of where this tool shines for me. I believe it's that same steel, that 12C27, which again for scissors is perfectly fine. Really sharp scissors and really comfortable to use, and I like having scissors, so I think that really kind of makes a tool for me. Now, one area where I'm going to get really nitpicky, and I don't know why this annoys me so much, but this is labeled as cerulean on their website. I don't know what cerulean is supposed to look like, whether that's a dark blue or light blue, don't really care, but it's labeled as cerulean. So is the James Brand Palmer. So I ordered the same color in the same handle material, these are both aluminum, from the same brand, and got two very different colors. And I'm looking at the viewfinder now. It's not as dramatic as in person, but this is a dark blue, this is a light blue, and so you can tell the difference even on camera. More dramatic in person. And so you order the same color, same handle material, same brand, you kind of expect to get the same color, and these are very different shades of blue. And so I don't know, that was just annoying to me. I feel like at the price point especially, you're kind of expecting some level of consistency. Obviously they were anodized probably at different, whatever it is, frequencies or whatever they do, but they did turn out quite different. And so at the price point, I just feel like there should be a little bit more consistency. So this is definitely more similar to like the ProTech PT Plus, for example. They're not the same color, but this one's also not cerulean, also a different brand, so I'm not expecting them to be exactly the same. So I picked the PT Plus using the same example here, the PT Plus up probably about 2 months ago. About a year and a half before that, I picked up the ProTech Runt. And so these are both labeled as blue by ProTech. They're different material or different textures, so one's textured, one's smooth, but they are the same color. And if they look slightly different, that is just the lighting's coming from the left, but in person they're exactly the same color. And so that's kind of what you expect at these price points, is that you're getting kind of a consistent product. And so especially on both these combos, these are both things that I might be carrying at the same time. I kind of want them to be the same color. Does it matter for the use of the knife? No. Does it really have any effect on anything at all? No. Does it matter to most people because they're not going to be picking up the same color on two different knives from the James brand? Probably not, but for me, it's just a little bit annoying. And again, minor nitpick, I still like the tool overall, just because I was really surprised by that and just seemed like a kind of dumb thing to me. But overall, really clean aesthetic. I like the look of it a lot. You can see nice clean lines on it, non-tooled on the show side, minimal branding. You just have that James Brand Fox on the show side and really nothing on the non-show side. The tools are obviously all back here, the pocket clips back here, which is non-reversible. Again, another kind of bummer, just kind of because the construction would allow it to be reversible. I don't see why not make it reversible, but it is not reversible. Overall, I think a really cool tool. I would have loved it a lot more at about $40 cheaper probably. And the reason I kind of hit that price point is you're getting, for like a Victorinox, this is the Pioneer X, I want to say. Maybe it's a Farmer X, not 100% sure. But in A-locks, so kind of a similar knife, similar size. You can see they're similar thickness. The Ellis is obviously thinner, but with that pocket clip you end up about the same. You also have a more robust tool set here. Although I feel like this has less tools, they're very effective tools. I use all of the tools on this one, whereas this one has like can opener and bottle opener and all, which I'm not using every day. So and I do think this one looks a little bit better. So I would understand this being a little bit more, but you can get this for, well, maybe not this exact version because it's the 2021 exclusive, but back in 2021, or if you buy this year's version, you can get it for probably $50 cheaper and get more tools and really kind of the same functionality. And so definitely feel like it was a little bit high, but still like it overall. Let me know what you think down in the comments. Do you think this is a $119 knife? Should it be a little bit cheaper? And what your experience with it has been. But overall, I do like it, and so I already paid the price. At this point, the price doesn't affect me much, and so I think it's a pretty cool knife. But I'll link to it in the description below. I don't have an affiliate link with James Brand, but I'll link directly to their website because that seems like the most consistent place to get it. They do sell out. But I'll link down to it in the description if you're interested. Definitely check it out, but know that there are cheaper options if you're looking for this specific tool set and a really kind of sleek design. I think this is a good option, but there are cheaper options out there with more functionality. But thanks so much for watching. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and hit that notification button. And as always, hope you have a great one. Take care.